All right, warming up. Okay.
La 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 la.
Me 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 me. Do re mi fa sol la ti do.
Welcome to Under the Hood.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Under the Hood, the show for sales and marketing professionals about all the latest tech and digital trends, up-and-coming trends, and future trends. As well with me, Gabe McCarthy, is the wonderful, as always, Mr. Tony Eads.
Thank you very much. Hello. Good
Lovely.
to see you again. I'm always excited time of the week when we get down into the bunker of Bella Vista.
The lovely Bella Vista Hotel, nice and cozy and very angular, as it always is, with its lovely zebra background. If you're watching on YouTube, hey, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe if you haven't already. Come on, and give us a like, please. It really helps.
Yeah. Or if you're listening on SoundCloud, then of course you won't see any visuals whatsoever. So just close your eyes for a second. Imagine a room full of zebra kind of prints and an angular desk.
Speaking of angular, I'm very muscular and really ripped right now. Having just become a new dad, I've been picking up my son and doing deadlifts.
There you go. So people are just picturing that now. So we've just tuned out a lot of our SoundCloud listeners. That's okay.
Or captured a whole bunch of new ones.
That's
which would be
right.
great.
Yeah, some interesting ones.
It has been just to address real quick before we jump into today's episode, Tony, and talk about the topic. It has been a little while since we've caught up between drinks. A few things have happened. Most noticeably,
yes, little things.
Little things.
Little things like what?
Oh, like I just mentioned, I became a dad.
Oh, congratulations. Round of applause. Where's the sound effect? You got the right one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hey, you. Couldn't have done it without you.
So, dad of the year in the making. How's it feel to be a father?
It feels quite a bit the same, except I'm just more tired than usual.
Yeah.
But you would, speaking from experience, know that, I'm sure. But
I can remember those days. It was great days. But it's good to see little Finn appear on some of our meetings where it just sort of pops up from under the desk where I think he puts him during the day.
Under the hood, as it were.
Under the hood. The hood lifts and out comes the baby.
No, he's a good boy and I'm very thankful. So, good to be back with you, Tony. It's been a while between drinks or coffees, as we usually have before recording this at the Bella Vista Hotel, as we mentioned. Thanks for having us. And without further ado, let's just jump into today's topic. Tony, do you want to announce it? Because you thought of this one.
Super excited, right? This is something that's been around. Anybody that's in marketing and sales, it probably comes up as well. 50% of your marketing doesn't work. What's the other half? It's always knowing if you know the other 50%, then we can do more of that 50% and not worry about the other 50%. So we're going to talk about today the 50% that does work, not the 50% that doesn't work.
Yes, and that's a good distinction to make, Tony. Definitely, if you want to hear about what 50% actually works, we're going to get into that. We are going to touch upon a little bit about why the other 50% doesn't. But without further ado, Mr. Eads, would you want to start the timer for us? And we have 10 minutes now to talk about this topic, and then we are done.
As if we ever keep to that. But let's try. Let's try.
And stick around to the end. Stick around to the end. We've got TOOLKIT to talk about. So we've got some really cool AI tools to talk about that you won't want to miss. So stay tuned till then. So, Tony.
Okay. Well, I think, the first thing is, the 50% of marketing that doesn't work, why doesn't it work? Let's really sort of deep down in effect. And I think a lot of it is that most people jump in too quickly. It's like the shiny object scenario, right? You think, Google AdWords, I'll just put 10 grand into Google AdWords and then sit back and all these leads will come flushing in. But they don't, do they?
They don't. And then the to your point, those kind of companies that do that are usually the younger companies or the startups, that develop this great product and this idea and this concept or this process of selling their solution or whatever it is. And then they just jump in like, we'll be able to make revenue straight away from this, but there's no plan, basically. No plan.
And I think the other thing as well is that, we're not just going to focus on paid media, but the thing is, paid media has to be part of a journey, like your website, for example. So if you run ads and then all you do is take them directly through to the homepage of your website, you're not channeling them, you're not funneling them. So they end up on the website thinking, okay, so where do I go now? I've just clicked on this specific ad that told me about a product or a solution. Great, I'm super excited because it's a problem thing solving for me. I get to the website, now I've got to try and navigate my way around.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. The strategy behind the call to action that happens from driving someone to a certain part of your website should marry with the ad that they just clicked, right? Hey,
100%.
I need a solution for X. Cool, I'm going to click on that ad. But wait, this is all telling me to start a demo. This is like, saying read more, learn more. I was like, well, I didn't really click for that, right?
No.
No.
Well, that's the other thing as well, is which you highlighted. A lot of times when people are coming across to your website or they've clicked on an ad or they've come to your website, they are not ready to buy. Now, this is the big thing. Now, a lot of people think, they're on my website. Sell, sell, sell. And you can't.
No.
Because that buyer journey needs to start. We need to nurture the person that's coming in, tell them a little about your solution. Instead, you go to the website and it's buy now, call us now, book a demo. It's assuming that every visitor to your website is ready to buy, and they aren't, I'm sorry to say.
Yep. And a lot of companies struggle with this, like in the initial initiatives they put out and strategy that they think will work, often is half-baked or just not really fully realized, to your point.
Yeah.
And things like ineffective messaging, which you've worked with a lot of branding and understand that is really key to understanding like your audience and attributing the right audience to your product. Improper targeting, like to your ads example, that's a really good point. Lack of strategy is a massive one that we're just talking about now in a general sense, but also poor campaign execution. Your ad example, ad to homepage, what's the point of that? It's a good example there. And then using outdated marketing techniques or, an old-fashioned way of working leads, you know what I mean? Like outbounds in a very direct approach for certain products just doesn't marry up. And a lot of people just really hit against their head against a brick wall. You know what I mean?
But I think the interesting thing you said at the very beginning there, we went through that list, ineffective messaging, right? That's one just to take a pause with. And I think that comes down to not knowing your buyer persona, right? So it starts with basics. And we do this all the time with our clients is before we even start, we want to understand, do they understand who their actual audience is? So some buyer persona workshopping to really understand who it is and testing that out because then well, these are the pain points of the persona. This is what they're really searching for. So this is how my solution fits in. So then the messaging becomes relevant.
100%. I also just came off a goal setting workshop this morning, as you know about it.
How exciting for you.
And that's exactly to that point. That's another thing we run to understand exactly what are the goals of your organization for your product or service. What are you trying to get in terms of, your leads that convert to MQLs to SQLs over a period of time? And where are the gaps? Like with these guys we were talking to, their top and middle of funnel was purely non-existent. They only had on their website and every ad pointing to it, book a demo. It's like,
Why am I going to book a demo?
Why am I booking a demo? Exactly. Where's my education about what I'm actually booking into?
Yeah, it's almost like book a demo to find out what we do. As if everyone's got time on their hands to just do endless demos to find out what people are selling.
Exactly. And look, let's talk to some other examples on that point about some lackluster campaigns and products and services that went out there into the market. And we're going to talk about some famous ones just to highlight some points of what we're talking about. Vine is a really good example of a product that had a great idea as a 6-second video app that nobody could monetize. Nobody could figure out how to make actual decent revenue from that. Twitter bought it and it failed. Twitter stayed, but it just killed Vine entirely. So there's a great example of like a good idea, a good concept put out there in the market and huge uptake, but then where does the revenue come from? Yeah,
I know. And I think another one is that new Coke. I think Coca-Cola, really got this wrong, way back in the 80s where they decided to change the recipe a little bit.
Yeah.
They bring out the so-called new Coke. They didn't do their research properly. Everybody hated it. The taste was wrong. The guys that really made, gold over that was Pepsi. Because Pepsi jumped on, always been the poor cousin, I suppose, of Coke. And they jumped on to say, what have they done? At least Pepsi hasn't changed its recipe. Come to Pepsi. And they took a lot of time to win back the original customers.
They sure did. And to your point about persona, that's the audience, right? For Coke audience, those personas love the recipe. And when they left it, they went, what? Like, even though there was not a huge difference or it might even tasted better, they were so loyal to the brands, they didn't consider the personas that they would just leave because it wasn't the product they loved. The other point to that is Google Glass. Do you remember Google Glass? Does anybody remember Google Glass?
Did you ever get one of those? Because I thought you would be the type of guy that as soon as a new piece of material came out, new piece of technology, you would be waltzing around the Bella Vista with your Google Glass on.
I totally would. At the time, I was quite young without any money. So
oh, right. Okay. So you could afford one.
No.
You were aspiring to be a Google Glass wearer.
I was. They didn't stop me from researching it and looking about everything that was to do with it. But there's perfect
what an
example.
ugly looking thing it was, though, wasn't it? It was almost like wearing a false eye, like the monoglass or whatever it was. It just didn't work.
I love the ad that stuck with me. The guy from Apple going, from Google going, you know what? People in nowadays are going to be doing this, right? But in the future, they're just going to be doing this.
and that's robots, I think now. I think robots have come into play.
And I went, I don't think they're going to do that. But there's a perfect example of not understanding, or Google not understanding the audience that was going to be appropriate, and they were a bit ahead of their time. To be honest, VR wasn't really there at that time.
But the interesting thing is, it's kind of like we won't go too long on this, but the old VR glasses. Like, I don't think, this the virtual reality or the 3D type of stuff is really going to take off until we get rid of the glasses.
Yeah.
The helmet thing that you got to put on. And they keep bringing out new ones and they look bulkier than ever before.
Did you see the Apple one, the new Apple Vision, I think it's called?
Yeah. Is it still like a bulky sort of
It is, but it's hard to explain. You can actually see the eyes of the person.
Oh, okay. So we're getting cleverer at getting rid of the... Okay,
yeah. And it's really cool. It's like augmented reality mixed in with virtual. But anyway, let's go back to the topic of the 50% of your marketing that does work.
Okay.
But why...
we've canned all the 50% that doesn't work. So the big secret is, and why people have tuned in, is what does work.
Well, here's the thing. Like, you have to understand the why you need to focus on the other 50%, right? And the key things are you want to be obviously maximizing your resources as a company, staying competitive, protecting brand reputation, huge one, driving business growth is a given, and then adapting to changing consumer behavior constantly. So being on the forefront of the marketing that does work and what we're going to talk to helps you with all those aspects. The first one being define clear marketing objectives, SMART goals, like I just talked about.
Oh, your goal setting workshop.
My goal setting workshop this morning. Like, it was a huge, revelation for my clients who were on the call. All the stakeholders just going, oh, we don't have any way of actually bringing in people to the CRM that isn't beyond the book a demo.
Yeah.
So thus, the overall business goals and providing a clear direction for our next marketing efforts just came to light.
I mean, it's basic stuff, really. I think that people overlook. It's like, the old story about a ship without a rudder. You start sailing and you got no rudder. Where are you going to go? What's going to happen? The wind's going to blow you in one direction and the sea's going to push you in another direction. So having a clear goal, and then you can measure it, right? You know if it's successful or it's not.
Exactly. And then use a platform like HubSpot. There it is.
The only T-shirt I've got. That's why I'm wearing it every week. Next one. What have you got?
Next is conduct thorough market research. All the time,
Don't
every time.
Don't assume. Don't guess. Yeah.
You know what they say about assume? You make an ass out of
you and me.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. It took me a long time to figure out what that meant. I'm a bit slow on that one. But, competitor analysis, really key, industry trends, keeping up with what other people are doing in terms of their marketing efforts that are within your industry, on that forefront. All right. Really important to do that. Developing a comprehensive marketing strategy is another key thing you should be doing with a well-defined tactics and channels and messaging that could target your specific audiences. So persona research, understanding your audiences intrinsically is super important.
The next one I love, embracing data-driven decision marketing. It's easy for you to say decision marketing because the data tells us everything, especially on platforms like HubSpot. We're really seeing what's working and what's not working. So use the data. Have a look at what's working and do more of that, which is the 50% you want to be doing. And don't waste time thinking, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and hopefully it'll work.
Yeah. And the next one to carry on from that, oh no, timer went off. You know what? Let's just keep going. We're almost done.
You've got a few more there.
I do have a few more, and they're worth noting just after the buzzer goes off. Invest time in targeted and personalized marketing. Now, the widespread net approach that we were talking about before doesn't work, and it's old hack. Everyone's now using the same platforms as you. The only way to get the upper hand is to make sure that you're personalizing your marketing. So when people land on your website or get emailed, it's to them and it feels personal to their needs.
Yep.
And
that's what they call speaking to an audience of one. rather than an audience of many.
Yeah.
So important.
Absolutely. So developing personalized content is important around that. Next point is emphasizing integrated marketing communications. So conversation pathways and mapping, like Intercom, is a great platform that does that.
Yep.
Making sure that you're clear about what pathways your consumers and prospects are going down, and having the appropriate people at those touch points to talk to them, whether it be a chatbot, an AI, or an actual human.
Yeah. And that's an important one as well. It's not necessarily a salesperson talking to people.
Yeah.
Like and this is why if you get the strategy right that Gabe's going through now, plan the strategy, then look at the technology that supports this, rather than the other way around. Because I think, again, that shiny object syndrome, where people go in, oh, look at this. Oh, I can have a bit of Google and I can have a bit of this. And I heard someone else is using this, so I'll have a bit of that, without the strategy to back it up.
So shiny and pretty. It's my Gollum impersonation.
Yes,
and then
good. We can edit that bit out.
Yeah, we'll take that out. And then the final 2 points, so continuously testing and iterating. I think that speaks
100%.
for itself. Using HubSpot, using reporting to learn from your success and failures. Super important to learn from your failures, because just how to direct and not just continue beat a dead horse. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Don't try the same thing if it's not bloody working.
Well, that works in business as well. Like if anybody follows Richard Branson, he's had more failures than he has successes, but he wouldn't have those successes if it hadn't been for the failures. The bottom line is have the failures, but learn from the failures. Don't rinse and repeat.
100%. And then final point is stay informed and adapt, people. Adapt or die, as they say.
Agile.
We had talked in one of our last episodes about TikTok and how you as a business can be adopting it. Don't be shying away from it. Also, the AI platforms we talk about, don't shy away from them. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but at least try and adapt and figure out, if your competitors are using this effectively, what is it and why is it that it's working, and how can it work for you in your circumstance? But don't feel like you have to match them all. Just, do try and don't shy away.
Yeah. And I think final point for me is, just as we said before, strategy first, right? Really take time to work with your team, work with an agency or whatever you need, consultant, just to kind of map out where the business is right now, what the future state looks like, and then what is the technology that can support it, rather than the other way around.
Yep. I think that's a good note to finish on there, Tony. We did have a few more notes about some examples of things, but you know what? We'll add those into
Part two.
But
now, of course, it's time for
The TOOLKIT.
So, Tony, toolkit.
What have you been rummaging around with? Because we've been away for a little while.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to see any rattles or dummies or baby products coming out there. Let's keep it on topic.
Okay, well, let's do that. Well, I'm curious first to hear about your AI tools, Tony, because there's some really cool things now that, they've probably been around for a bit now, but, since our last, I think it was a month ago, recording, so many new things have cropped up in the market around AI.
You just can't keep up with it, which is why we were talking about in the last segment about how, don't get taken away by the AI, even though we are. I mean, every time we see anything AI, we got to have a play with it and find out what's going on.
Well, Tony does, anyway.
Yes, well, anything AI I have a go with. But there's so much now, especially with the voice coming into play, right? So you can use voice or you can use text to prompt an AI tool to do everything, build a website, create a logo, an email template, a blog, even a video. All of this AI stuff is coming out, which is pretty exciting.
Interesting. So what kind of things out there, tool-wise? Because I think you've got a few listed here that...
Well, I've got one.
Oh, you got one? Oh, you
Yes,
do? Yes.
yeah.
What is it?
Read the script. So it's spline.design. Yeah, so SPLINE, spline.design. What do you reckon that does?
Oh, God.
So it's something like your spine.
Yeah, it sounds like a horror film or something. Spline.
Well, this little AI tool is a unique kind of tool that enables you to actually create 3D designs entirely through text prompts.
Whoa.
So you're texting through, okay, I want it to do this. It's similar to Mid-Journey and stuff like that for static stuff. This is actually taking it into the 3D world. So you can create things, for example, it's similar for designers who use Figma. It's that kind of process in terms of working. But you can actually, through these writing prompts that you're putting in, you can actually create stuff like 3D images, product design. So if you're prototyping something, animation, and even game design. if you want to have a go with that. So imagine like 3D imagery coming in, and then you can pull it apart, move it around. So have a go with that one. Spline.design.
Interesting. You could kind of use those things for if you've got like a product that's really hard to display
or even
online,
describe.
Or describe.
Yeah.
You could use this as like a way to text prompt it and then get a visual representation and then place it on your website or in a video or something.
Or
right?
a presentation of some kind.
Or Prezzo, exactly. Cool.
What have you got?
To that point, Tony, just to finish off your point, I also found a website called stunning.so.
I love these new domain things at the end, is it? .design.io. What's this one? SO. What does that mean?
SO, I don't know.
So,
PTO, please turn over this website. But yeah, look, stunning.so, similar to your point, I just wanted to tack on there, is a AI-based platform that if you give it certain prompts and understanding about your brand and product, it'll generate a whole website for you that you can download and then use as a template.
Well, that's you and me over a job. People are going to run off now and start designing their own websites.
I tried it. It's not amazing.
Okay,
but
good.
It's a starting point. It's like ChatGPT. It gives you a prompt and then you should just work with that.
And probably for a basic website. Like if you're a startup or something, you just want to get something online.
Yeah.
Personal website or something.
Yeah, honestly, other platforms that you would use manually, like Squarespace or something, could do similar things, but just not with AI. My point, and then following the AI trend, is really cool, and I'm sure plenty of people heard about, and one we've been playing here at Salted Stone with is called Adobe Firefly. Have you know that?
Yeah, I've seen it. The guys have been super excited in the design department.
Yeah, our designers have been like on the edge of their seat playing with this because basically it is an add-on to Photoshop that basically puts you in this place where you can add an image, remove or add in certain bits that weren't existing in the image previously through the use of giving an AI prompt. So, for example, a guy in an image of a model is wearing like a blue shirt. You could say like highlight the whole blue shirt and say make it a red coat, and type that into the AI prompt. The AI prompt would give you a few options and then change him very, very accurately.
Change his clothes.
Yeah, into a whole outfit. It's amazing. So
yeah.
you can do that. You can remove things from background. Say remove the truck from the background, please, or change the sky from like cloudy to blue, or tidy up the street, because we got a photo of our office, tidy up the street so that the paveway looks clean, or like even, which I really love, is increase the size of the image. So like to show what's beyond the edges of the image.
Sometimes the background's not right, isn't it? You get an image from a client and you want to extend it, and you can't extend it because there's no background, but this will create the background for you.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So you could say like, here's a lab that we work in or whatever, and you can see all our equipment, but you can only see a bit of it. Well, then use the AI prompt to say, expand and show all the other equipment we have in the lab, and then it'll show you all the additional, like it'll actually add it in. Now it's not, I should, highlight that it's not perfect. We've noted even
AI isn't perfect, really, is it? It's a work in progress as the machine learning is doing its stuff.
Yeah, so there are things like it'll stretch out imagery or it'll make it look a bit funky. So tread lightly, but it's a really good starting point. So Adobe Firefly, check it out.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Well, that's it for this episode of Under the Hood. Thanks for joining us. Of course, you're sitting there wondering, well, what's next?
Me too.
So are we, actually. No, we do know. We have planned.
Do we? Oh, it's written here. It is written here.
So next up on Under the Hood is going to be what? What do we plan to do?
The next episode of Under the Hood is going to be why you should ditch WordPress and choose a smarter website CMS.
So if your website is on WordPress or you're considering WordPress, and sorry to anybody watching from WordPress, we won't be seeing you anymore, I'm sure. But come and join us and we'll show you the reasons why and some things you might be missing out of just before you, change your website over.
Yes, and thanks again to the Bella Vista Hotel for having us. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to this podcast, and we'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye for now.
I can't wait.